Good morning, Tessrin. Did you sleep well?
Yes, thank you. What are you eating?
Oh, we had some coffee and pastries prepared.
I sit next to her and fish a pastry off of the tray or whatever.
Okay. Avina smiles at you and says, well, it looks as though we only have a few more of your... Well, I presume you're travelling as a party?
It
Kind
appears
of
so.
just met on the road more than anything, though.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I hear that's how these things happen. Well, we'll get down to business in a moment. In the meantime, I hope you're finding your stay in Tin's Falls to be pleasant thus far.
Oh, I'm
Pleasant
keeping
enough.
amused.
He also winks at Tessren.
I lean over and whisper in Tessrin's ear. He is a very sweet man. You could do this.
My mouth is currently full of pastry at this moment, so this is definitely awkward. I lower the pastry and try to act like I was not just caught eating a pastry by everyone.
Oh dear.
The edges of Avina's mouth twitches, but she acts as though she didn't hear that, and says to her son, my dear boy, would you be able to go down to the door and find out if our other guests have arrived yet? At which point he shrugs and heads downstairs. Does anyone say anything else at all?
My shoulders sag in relief.
I kind of think of the tiefling and get up and say, I might go with you, actually.
Oh God.
I just raise my eyebrow and glance between these goings on.
That
Don't
is
say anything.
pretty much a completely reasonable reaction. Okay, so downstairs, the tiefling tower elf and the other half orc in the party have all arrived, and they are greeted by Liotto at the door, who seems to be unnervingly cheery considering the time of day.
I think Gwyn would normally be a morning person, but
Just not
not
this
today.
morning.
Just not this morning.
Upon seeing Gwyn, he kind of does a slight double take and says, Are you alright?
No. I am not okay.
He stutters for words a bit. He goes, the bartender gave you wine, didn't he?
Yes, he did.
Would this be the bottle of strong elven wine he's been trying to sell for a year and a half but no one would buy because of the side effects?
Side effects?
Oh.
Like the hangover.
Yep, that'll be the one.
This explains everything.
I
No one has
laugh
ever
and
heard
say,
Jack
"This
laugh
is
as
why
loud
I
as he
don't
does right now.
drink anymore."
Also, just for clarification, Gwyn actually sounds like I do because her voice has sort of broken somewhat because of all the alcohol from last night.
He also seems to be struggling very, very, very hard not to laugh at this point in time, and with a hand over his mouth, waves you through the door and up the stairs. As Jack passes, he hears a giggle squeak out from the boy's throat.
Eskel grins, leans over at Liotto and just kind of inappropriately says, "So, Tessren, what do you think?"
Think about what?
No, to Liotto, not to Tessren.
Oh God.
He smiles and says, I'm sure I don't know what you mean, Escal.
Oh, really? You were kind of making very sweet eyes at her.
My eyes are always sweet.
My eyes are really sweet. I'm dead.
I kind of summon a mage hand behind him and push him up the stairs, saying, "Get a move on, sweetie.
Oh my
I
God.
like to be amused."
He is
Oh
pretty
my
much
God.
thrown up the stairs and back through the door of his mother's study, almost landing on Tessren.
Oh my.
I spill my coffee.
Oh. Well,
For once the boy-
gets up there, clutches the door frame, laughing.
Once the boy appears to be lost words and sits down rather awkwardly, but also rather noticeably, in the chair next to Tesseren. Avina decides to come to her son's rescue and says, it appears we're all here. It's good to see you. Now, the business. How did your investigations go yesterday?
We got a couple potential leads, conflicting, however. We have one beggar directing us north, and a dwarf I met in town indicating east. Do you know anything about a dwarf named Sigra, by the way?
Sigura? Oh, she kind of shrugs and says, it's a common enough name around these parts. I mean, for goodness sake, we actually have a few Sigras on the town guard, if I remember correctly.
Oh, that's why there was a beggar. Oh, I remember now.
I look at Pod and kind of ask him, where were they telling you to go? Did they give any names of places?
Just the east end of the, out of character. Dang it, I can't remember the freaking name of the place.
Wouldn't happen to be Crab Leg Lane, would it?
That's the one.
No, it would not.
Yeah, it is.
No,
That's
that's where your
that
map
was the
said to
beggars, was
go.
it? Ah, okay.
Oh,
That was
okay.
north.
Well, I heard from the tailor and his wife that seems to be the place where they were.
Oh? And I'll trust Taylor over the beggar. And the tailor said north to Crab Leg Lane?
I don't know about the beggar, but the tailor said that, yes.
That's what we got from the beggar as well. He mentioned Crab Leg Lane to the north.
So
Yeah,
they
drew
both
a map
seem to
even.
be telling the truth, or at least that's where Crab Leg Lane is, anyway.
And which part of town did they say this Crab Leg Lane was? Avina asks.
Take a wild guess.
Oh, of course, Shadow Alleys. One moment. She walks over to one of her libraries and actually picks up a map book that Escal was looking over and flicks through it. Her face then freezes as she gets to the end of the book and she kind of grunts in a slightly worried manner. There appear to be pages missing from this book.
Oh no.
Oh no.
What
I
was
did
on the
wonder
pages?
why I didn't find anything.
These would be the pages that have the detailed maps of the roads and alleyways in Tinspool. Please excuse me for one moment, and she strides out the door and actually slams it behind her.
Escal falls slightly gracelessly through the door. Thing is, she was leaning on the doorpost.
Okay, you can hear her yelling something rather urgently downstairs. Do you listen in?
Sure.
But of course.
Yep.
Alright, perception checks for me then, those of you who want to listen.
I am so stoked for this hearing business.
I am also so stoked for this. Oh wait, do I roll with disadvantage again?
Yeah, you roll everything with disadvantage.
Unless your hangover gets cured.
For
Wow.
Good lord.
It's the 18 that counts.
You hear
Your elven
everything.
hearing comes through for you once again.
You hear
That
the
gets
beating
really
of
good.
her very heart and soul.
Okay, so it looks like everyone but Scamanos, who is busy admiring the shiny things in the room, hears his arena demand, get me a list of everyone who's been in this building in the last month. Now! And some flurrying downstairs, and a slight pause as she said, for God's sake, there's only been guards coming in and out of this building. Guards and you lot. Oh, love, curse it.
Wait. Are we gonna get blamed here?
I think I'm gonna get blamed.
You do look like a bit of a thief.
Thanks. What gave it away?
That's my
I
great
asked Staminos if he can tell when a room's been broken into, or if someone might have jimmied doors or whatever else.
Was it locked to begin with?
Okay, a couple of seconds later, she comes back up and sits down, looking remarkably more composed than she was before. Lyoto, on the other hand, looks utterly terrified at the fact that his mother has shown this reaction.
So, who are our top suspects?
Well, being mayor, the list of people coming in and out of my home is fairly substantial. However, most of my formal meetings take place at the town hall. Meaning, of course, that the main people who've been in and out of here are those who work for me, my town guards, and you lot. I would like to presume that none of you have decided to rummage through or break into my rooms at any point.
I have
will
no interest in it.
confess, I did trance up here, and when I woke, I looked through the maps, but I didn't notice that the pages had been torn.
She kind of gives you a long look for a second and says, okay, your honesty is appreciated. She kind of says and says, the worrying thing about this is that all of my rooms are charmed with an alarm spell. You understand what this means, correct?
Some sort of magic user who knows how to dispel
Disarm it.
those.
Yeah.
That's it. As far as I'm aware, Bianco is not a magic user.
Doesn't mean he does. Well, he wouldn't have one on his staff.
Mm-hmm. If he's gotten into so much power, there's no telling who he's got working for him, which means we do have to watch out.
Quite frankly, I am more worried that Bianco managed to become quite so powerful quite so quickly.
Mm-hmm.
You suspect he has someone backing him?
Oh, I've suspected it for quite some time. I just thought there wasn't potentially need to mention it until now. That was why I wanted the man captured alive.
Noted.
I suspect a magic user of the ability needed to do this would be quite above the weight you'd expect from Bianco.
Is there a town wizard that you've had a meeting with recently?
Lyoto raises his hand sheepishly.
You're the town wizard.
For now, my father is sort of out of town at the moment, so I've been taking care of things.
Adorable. That's out of
Do you say this aloud?
No.
Okay.
So do we know of any other magic users in town? Obviously, they wouldn't all present themselves, but...
There are a lot of people passing through here. You know how busy a trade route this is. Quite frankly, the majority of wizards, sorcerers, warlocks, no matter what, wouldn't make me bat an eye. I can certainly go through the records, and for that matter go for the records and see if any of my guards happen to be magic users.
Is there a reason that anyone who wasn't local would be interested in these maps? Surely it would be someone local.
Or someone who isn't local and does not know the area as well. Or even someone who is local and is well aware that I would know and have resources to find where the various areas where we could find one Bianco would be.
Gwyn takes a large gulp of her coffee and suggests that people go to the room the maps were stolen and do some investigation.
We're in,
We're in
aren't
that
we?
room.
That would be this room.
Yeah.
Just a second.
Gwyn doesn't know which room she's in because she's hungover.
I just
yeah.
sort of pat Gwyn on the head and just say, go back to your coffee.
I tap Gwyn reassuringly on the shoulder in a less patronising way.
I'm gonna do an investigation check then. So
Can I double check? Can warlocks? I think my warlock can detect magic, and I think Lucy, you probably can as well.
Nope.
Let me
I don't
get.
have any of those actually, I don't think.
I look at the mayor. Can you tell if the alarm spell is still in place?
She nods and says, "Well, it hasn't gone off at all, which means that I would be aware if it had been, so it has not been tampered with."
I would say that's quite a way of telling whether an alarm spell's on.
Dan, can you double check? Can we double check if paladins can detect magic?
Detect magic is a...
Paladins, I believe, have detect good or
That's it,
evil,
isn't
not
it?
detect magic.
Detect magic is a cantrip that you would have needed to take.
Ah,
Or it's a
right.
first level spell.
Which I haven't taken.
No.
Okay, as far as I can tell from the sheets I've got, I don't think anyone has detect magic.
Don't think so.
No, we
No.
don't, unfortunately.
No, you can all detect types of magic, but not just generally magic.
All of us detect the type of magic we can detect. Oh yes.
Okay, Avena sighs and says, "Perhaps the best thing would be for you to follow through on any leads you have on Crab Lane, and I will conduct some investigations here."
Alright. So, game plan. So, like I said, we've got the two separate leads taking us in different directions. Obviously, one of them is a trap. Somebody wants us to go there to get attacked. So, are we deciding on going north to Crableg Lane or east?
Well, the tailor said north to Crableg Lane, and the hobo said north to Crableg Lane.
Just to let you know, the tailor just said Crableg Lane. He didn't say which direction.
Let's go back to the tailor quickly and see if he knows where it may be.
Can we establish priorities here? I think we need a hangover cure of some kind.
Just
Pod
drink your
size.
coffee for now. We'll work it out in a minute.
Ask Leotto.
I don't believe anyone here has cure disease.
Hang on.
Ask me in a few levels.
Excuse me, young sir. Before I leave, I say to Leotto.
Yes, ma'am, how can I help you? He looks a little alarmed at being directly addressed by the drunken tower elf.
I'm not drunk now, but okay. I don't suppose you would know of any particular concoctions that would cure my incredibly horrific hangover.
He puts his head in his hand and his shoulders are shaking. Avena gives her son a glare and says, "There's a town apothecaries, my lady Holly, whatever the hell your surname is. That's out of character, by the way. She addresses you formally by name. I can give you directions if that would be of any assistance."
This would be fantastic, thank you.
Okay, she gives you some directions to an apothecary and says, "Leotto, pull yourself together. We're going to be reading for quite some time."
Yes, young sir. Get focused now. I give Leotto a pat on the shoulder.
He just collapses into even more giggles at this point and squeaks, "I'm so sorry.
I
Please
smile.
don't assassinate me."
Pod just chuckles.
Oh my god.
So, anyway. So we're heading toward Crab Leg Lane once we figure out which direction it's in.
Yeah.
Are we all going to? Are we all going to get Dan hangover cured? Or
yeah, we'll.
I think Dan can go and get hangover cured by himself.
Let's just make him go on his own. We can ask around in the bar and maybe go back into the market and ask around in there.
I'm going to accompany Dan.
Yeah, we need to organise the meals.
And before we go, let's make a plan here. Obviously, they want us to go the wrong direction, and we'll want them to believe we're going in the wrong direction. So as far as public discussion goes, once we leave this room, we're heading the way we know to not be the correct direction.
Yeah.
Sound good to you guys?
Yeah, obviously. Yeah,
Jack nods.
Alright. Okay, we ready to go?
Okay, so you head out the townhouse. Dan, you are... Well, sorry. Gwyn, you are heading towards the apothecaries, and the rest of you are all heading towards the tailors?
I'm with Dan.
I think Jack's with me, yeah.
Okay, so Jack and Dan are heading to the apothecary, so I will go with you first. You arrive there without any great problems at all, and you're greeted by the apothecary who is just opening her shop.
Gwyn, do you want to handle this?
I'm sure I can. Good day, madam. I say to the apothecary.
Good day, madam. How can I be of service to you? We have an excellent offer on some beautiful healing herbs, freshly harvested from the forest, if I can interest you in them at all.
Do they cure hangovers?
She takes a long look at you and says, "My lady, you haven't been drinking elvish wine recently, have you?"
Yes.
Would this be the elvish wine that Bram, the innkeeper not a few streets over, has been trying to sell to everyone that passes for the last year?
Why do people keep saying that? Yeah.
To be fair, at least Gwyn didn't buy this one.
Good lord, he gave it away for 3. I thought he'd never do it.
I kind of... We kind of killed some bad people in the taverna yesterday. So, as you know, a gift, he gave me this strange but incredibly awesome wine.
She nods and starts getting a few ingredients together off various shelves. Not a problem, I know exactly how to deal with this. Will 50 silver be okay for you, madam? Sorry, 10 silver even.
Yeah, 10 silver is perfectly fine.
Okay, she takes a few minutes and mixes up a rather nasty smelling concoction in various mortar and pestles, and then mixes them up in some liquid in a mug that she hands over to you. Apologies for the taste, madam, but it does work.
We'll see. I ask, before I drink it, I ask how long will it take for my hangover to return, to go away, sorry.
I do nothing but the best hangover cures. You'll be right as rain in all of 20 minutes.
Okay. I will drink it sternly? No.
Stoically drink.
Stoically.
You grimace and chuck the concoction back. It tastes foul and somewhat gloopy, but by the time you've swallowed it, your head is already starting to feel a little clearer.
Thank you very much.
Not a problem. Please come back any time that you feel like drinking more of Bram's wine.
Yes, I will. Don't worry.
I tip one silver.
She nods and says, "Thank you very much, sir. Please do come back any time."
Yep.
Okie dokie. Over to the rest of you. So by the time that Gwyn is sobering up, you are reaching the tailor's shop. He doesn't have an icon as of yet, so I'm afraid you are still stuck with the potato chair. However, the tailor greets you very cheerily. "Ah, good morning. It's a pleasure to see you all. How can I help?"
Just looking for a bit more information. My friends tell me that you indicated us toward Crableg Lane.
I believe my husband remembered that from last time Bianco's men came visiting.
Could you more specifically indicate where that is, or could he?
Okay, the tailor calls out back, and his husband appears through the door with a very happy-looking young halfling in tow who is wearing brand new shining clothes and a nice apron.
Escal
Pod kinda
smiles happily at us.
So does Pod.
"Escal, Miss Tessren, how are you?" Gion cries. "Can you see the clothes they've given me?"
They look lovely.
Okay. The tailor's husband pats the boy on the shoulder and says, "All right, ready to get to work?" And the boy nods and bustles over to the side of the room and starts organizing a shelf full of fabrics. The man then looks over to you and says, Was there something you needed?"
Yes. Could you tell us where Crableg Lane is?
"Where?" He kind of looks a bit puzzled and says, "I have no idea, to be honest. I mean, I suppose it would be around the Shadow Alley somewhere. That's where those bloody criminals usually hang out, but I couldn't tell you any more than that."
All right. Just figured we'd try.
My apologies. If I could tell you, by all the gods I would. You're good folk.
I look at the boy. Would you happen to know?
He looks around, apparently engrossed in the fabric. "Sorry, mister?"
Do you know whereabouts Crableg Lane is?
Where is?
Crableg Lane.
He kind of frowns and says, "Um, sorry, I never really came
Okay.
into the town before now.
All
Is
right.
that where, that scary
Yeah.
guy's hanging out?"
That's how it seems.
I'm real sorry, mister. I hope you find it sometime soon."
I just nod. It's quite all right. All right then. Thank you for your time.
"Not a problem. Come back any time." The tailor also grins at Escal and says, "The offer's open if you ever want to look at some new fabrics. Got a delivery coming in next week."
If I'm still around, I'll definitely come and see.
"I will look forward to seeing you." Okay, you will head out of the tailor's. What's the plan?
Okay,
First
so do we know whereabouts this Shadow Alley place is?
The alleys themselves, I would think so.
DM?
Basically, we're trying to navigate within the
Yeah.
shadow alleys.
Where are Gwyn and Jack relative to everyone else right now?
Depends which way did you head when you came out of the apothecaries.
I assume we went to the tailor's.
Okay, you're probably heading towards that at the moment. It would have taken a little bit longer for you to get the medicine for the hangover than it would for this lot to have had the conversation, but you are heading in this general direction.
Cool.
Do we know if the Shadow Alleys are via the marketplace or are they in completely the opposite direction?
Okay, so the way that this is just general knowledge, so I'll give you this
Yeah.
bit. So Tinterfall is basically all along the river, and the river goes up to the waterfall that heads down over the cliffs from Tin's Height. So the shadow alleys are a little away from the river. That tends to be a kind of generally busy, not exactly upmarket, but there's, it's a nice busy area of town. Doesn't tend to have much by way of criminal activity, plenty of money flowing around. The shadow alleys themselves are right at the very northern edge of the town, right past where the river goes, and you've been told by a number of different NPCs that they're under where the shadow of the cliffs lie, which is why they're mostly abandoned these days.